Alright, so now I have to button everything up. Now, normally your ESC would mount here and that hole right there, but this is a longer motor. This is a 1415 motor, I believe, a Newcastle motor. And then your receiver box will go here, unless you relocate it over here. But my buddy has a different system, so we will have to use this little plate. Place it here. The ESC does not actually mount here. There's just a piece of foam that absorbs shock because the ESC doesn't fit. That's because he overpowers a lot of things, but he has some pretty cool stuff. So do go ahead and follow him on Instagram at Rods Reels RCs. You can check some really cool crawler stuff as well. So this one, just those two. Again, if you were to relocate it, you could relocate it. It's either here or here. I forget. But here we go. And this will go in here as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and set this on. Now you can't really tell, but this looks like it's been chewed a little. That's because it wasn't sat completely on, so that's something that happens. So not a big deal. All right, I'm gonna have to fix that in a bit. All right, so now at this point, I can go ahead and grab these electronics here. The ESC, I will go ahead and mount afterwards. Right now I need to make sure I stick the receiver. So the receiver will simply go in here and I will place it between those two screws so that he will have access to it. And I'm now going to grab the servo lead, place it through here, and the servo just goes into channel 1. So channel 1 will go in here. And that, there we go. All right. Perfect. And now I can seat this. I'm trying to make sure that gasket fits, there we go, properly. Now I can grab the screws, hold this down. Now I'm not worried about the slack right now, or the excess. I'll worry about it later. I'll just tuck it in afterwards, so it's not a big deal. My biggest concern is getting the antenna. Now usually the antenna would go through here. I'm going to send it through this other side because the antenna is going to go over here. This may have gone the other way, but it's not really going to make a difference. Move this over here. I have the tubing. Now originally when this tubing was on, it was just this little section here that was inside of the tubing. I'm going to see if I can put some of the gray part in the tubing. I guess not. Well, oh, yep, did get some of the gray part. It's just that part is a little thicker. All right, so it goes in there. All right, not sure if you can see, but there's a little slit right there in the plastic. That's where the wire slides in. And then this just slides on the main hole. Then once you do that, there's a little set screw right in here. Then you go ahead and just tighten that, and that will hold the antenna tube in place. And that is it. So now at this point, I can go ahead and just send the servo wire in there. So I'm just gonna put the ribbon inside, and as it goes inside, it will just sort of snake on its own. Just be gentle with the wire. You don't want to break the insulation. Do keep that in mind. Do not use a sharp object to push it through. All right, here we go. All right, and that is it. So I wonder why he mounted it this way. Now, really quick, one of the reasons why you want to mount this the other way so that the shaft and the wires don't come into contact, especially if you get a little pebble or something in there. But this is the way he had it, so this is the way I'm going to install it. Now the ESC, he put this piece of foam, so this just goes in here, and then this will be tie strapped there. And I'm just going to get rid of some of the slack, not too much. Let me go ahead and put this in here, and then I'll connect the wires. And get this one started. Right. And here I'm just trying to place the wires so that they do not catch on these little plastic fins. There we go. And that slides on. Good, that'll go there. All right, I will need a little more slack on this one, so let's go ahead and take some wire out. There it is. Run it through there. Now I'm just going to close it. Now I'm going to worry about the tie strapping later. I'm not going to do it here in this video. I'm not going to do it on the video. I'm going to do it off camera. So the only thing I have to do now is connect the wires. Now usually if you're using a Valineum system, the wires are going to match, so yellow to yellow, white to white, blue to blue. But on this one, they did not. So if you remember from the beginning, the wires were not in order. So what we had is, let's see, that's a good question. I'll check it later. I believe it was black to red, and then white to yellow, and blue to red. I'll have to check my footage. Usually I write it down, but I thought I could remember. The worst thing that can happen is the car will just run backwards, and then I can just swap them again. But anyway, other than that, I'm ready to mount the tires on there. So I will go. No, these are fine. It's just the paint that is falling off. All right, so we'll do these. And these are not directional tires, so we'll go ahead and place them here. If I had two drivers, that would be great, because then I could just twist them both at the same time. But I do not have two drivers, so I'm just going to hold this tire and I'm going to drive one, and then I'll drive the other one. But other than that, this is pretty much it for taking these vehicles apart. Again, Traxxas Slash, they're relatively easy vehicles to work on. They, just like anything, any other RC, there are some pros and cons. One of the disadvantages of this particular model is if you do not run a brace and you do a lot of bashing, or if you crash hard enough, you will break the tub right in here. And that is a problem. It happened to one of my friend's vehicles, a different friend. His truck was pretty new, right? It may have even been the first run. And then he handed the transmitter to another one of his buddies, and the first thing he did was drive it under a tire, snapped the tub. So it does happen. Now, if you recall, I'm going to leave this on. I'm not going to tighten this completely because this is completely damaged. So it was making a weird sound, like a and then the vehicle would barely run or wouldn't go up to speed. The hex was spinning inside. So I'm going to leave the tape here. This wheel does need to be replaced, but I'll let them know that I found the problem, which luckily it's an easier problem to deal with. All these gears, everything else looked fine. So we'll just sort of leave it like that for now. I'm not going to go all the way. But here it is. So thank you so much for watching my teardown and rebuild videos of the Traxxas 4x4 Slash. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, please comment below. Any suggestions, anything that you may have, any questions as well, please comment. Thank you so much for watching.
What? Oh, my hair! My arm! My rod!